The Secret Garden, Chapter 2, Part 2. Morning light touched her face slowly, drawing her gently out of sleep, the manor still quiet around her. She stretched her small arms wide, listening to the faint stirrings, a house waking but not alive. Martha entered with her cheerful step, carrying a jug of cool water, her smile chasing away the chill. "Wash quick now, Miss Mary," she said. "The day's fine and the moor's bright, calling you to breathe its air." Mary dipped her hands in water, the cold waking her fully, sharpening her thoughts of the garden. At breakfast she ate in silence, but her mind pressed with questions, turning again to the locked doors. Martha spoke freely of her brothers, their games on the wide moor, their laughter carried by the wind. Mary listened with growing interest, wondering what it was like to run so wild and free. Her spoon paused halfway to her lips, and she asked suddenly, curious, "Did you ever see the locked garden?" Martha's smile faded for a moment, her hands busied with the tray, and she did not meet Mary's eyes. "They say it's been shut for years. No one goes there anymore, miss. Best not to think about it." The words stirred Mary deeply inside, but she kept her face calm, her thoughts burning quietly beneath. When breakfast was done, she walked the long corridors, each step soft in the silence. She touched the walls as she went, their stone cool and unmoving, holding secrets she longed to know. A draft swept across her cheek, carrying the smell of damp earth, a promise hidden within the air. She stopped at a window suddenly. Outside stretched the bare moor, gray and endless under the sky. Her breath fogged the glass faintly, and she whispered to herself, "The garden must be near." The corridor turned and twisted, leading her past closed doors, each one a mystery to her. She bent low at a keyhole, but only darkness stared back, deep and unbroken as sleep. A floorboard creaked behind her. She turned quickly, heart racing, but no one was there at all. The silence seemed thicker now, pressing close against her ears, holding secrets she could not reach. She wrapped her arms around herself, not from fear, but from longing, a wish to know the hidden truth. Martha found her wandering alone. "Best stay where you belong, miss. These halls are no place to play." Mary lowered her eyes in silence, but her mind would not be quiet, pulling back again to the garden. The day passed in slow hours, her thoughts circling without end, around keys, doors, and roses unseen. Evening shadows stretched across the halls, and the wind whispered outside, low and steady like a lullaby. Mary sat by the window in silence, her eyes fixed on the moor, her mind heavy with questions. The silence pressed heavily there, thicker than in other rooms, like a secret being kept close. The idea grew stronger inside her, like a secret flame burning, steady but impossible to ignore. She whispered to herself softly, "One day I will find it, no matter how long it takes." The house creaked in the night, its old bones shifting slowly, as if listening to her vow. Mary wrapped the blanket tighter and closed her eyes at last, still dreaming of hidden roses. The next morning broke quietly. Thin light touched the curtains, drawing her gently out of sleep. Martha came bustling as always, her hands red from the cold, but her voice cheerful and kind. Mary asked about the moor again. Martha spoke of lambs and heather, her words painting wild pictures. Mary listened with growing interest, feeling the air inside her room grow lighter with each story told. After breakfast, she slipped away, wandering the long stone halls, her steps soft against the floor. She paused at a closed door, resting her hand on the handle, though she dared not turn it. The silence pressed heavily there, thicker than in other rooms, like a secret being kept close. She bent low at the keyhole, but saw only shadows inside, still and quiet as sleep. The sound of footsteps startled her. She turned quickly down the hall, heart beating fast in her chest. But it was only Martha passing, her basket full of folded linens, her smile calm and familiar. Mary followed her for a while, listening to her steady chatter like a stream running over stones. Martha spoke of her brothers' games, their races across the open moor, their laughter carried by the wind. Mary wished she could see them, children strong and full of life, so different from her own days. She felt small in the manor, but the moor outside called her, wild, untamed, and waiting. Her steps carried her to a window. She pressed her hand to the glass, longing to breathe the open air. The sky stretched gray and wide, but within it she felt promise, something new waiting for her. She whispered once more inside, "The garden is near, I know. One day I will find the key." The words stayed with her softly, like a secret tucked away, safe in the quiet of her heart. Morning came soft and gray, clouds drifting over the moor, while the manor kept its silence. Mary rose from her bed slowly, her small feet cold on stone, her thoughts still on the garden. Martha bustled in with water, her cheeks red from the wind, her voice bright in the room. "Up, Miss Mary," she said kindly. "The day is waiting outside and the air is sharp and clear." Mary washed without complaint now, her hands quick in the basin, her mind already wandering far. She asked Martha about the moor, and the girl spoke of heather, of lambs running wild and free. Mary listened with shining eyes, for the first time imagining herself running in such open fields. After breakfast, she slipped away, her shoes tapping on the floor, her heart beating with curiosity. She walked through quiet halls, each turn filled with shadows, each door hiding unseen rooms. At one corner she paused still, a faint sound reaching her ear, like someone crying far away. She held her breath in silence, listening with her whole body, but the sound faded into nothing. Her skin prickled with wonder, half with fear, half with hope, as she turned to search again. The long corridor gave no answer, only the wind moaned faintly, shaking the old window glass. Mary stood with her hand pressed to the cold wooden railing, feeling the house breathe around her. She whispered to herself softly, was it a child or a ghost, or only my mind playing tricks? Her words were swallowed by silence, the great manor holding its secrets deep in stone and shadow. She walked back with quick steps, her eyes darting to each door, half afraid of what she'd find. But no one waited in the halls. The house stood quiet as ever, its face blank and unmoving. Back in her room she sat still, her heart restless and alive, her ears straining for another sound. The cry lingered in her memory, a thread she could not forget, pulling her toward hidden places. The next day dawned pale and cold, the moor stretching endless outside, its winds whispering through the stone. Mary dressed with quiet hands, her mind still turning in circles around the cries she thought she heard. At breakfast, she asked Martha again, was someone crying last night? I thought I heard a voice. Martha shook her head quickly. You've been dreaming, miss, that's all. This house makes strange sounds. Mary frowned but said no more, yet her heart would not settle, still tugged by the thought of tears. Later, she wandered near the stairs, the air colder in that passage, as if secrets waited below. She paused, holding the railing tight, listening with all her strength, but the silence gave nothing back. The manor loomed around her, full of locked doors and shadows, each corner heavy with mystery. She longed for the garden again, its hidden roses and green paths, a place she had never seen. Her small fists closed with resolve. She whispered, I will find it, even if no one tells me how. The wind rattled the tall windows, answering her vow with a sigh, like the moor itself had heard. That night she lay awake long, her ears straining for a sound, but only the wind cried outside. The cry returned in her dream, soft and faint as before, but calling her deeper inside. She woke with her heart racing, the room still dark and cold, yet the sound seemed close. She tiptoed to the door slowly, her hand trembling on the knob, but she dared not turn it. Instead, she pressed her ear close, the wood cold against her cheek, waiting for another sound. The hall gave nothing away, only silence stretched and waited, thick as the walls themselves. She crept back into her bed, pulling the covers to her chin, her mind too restless for sleep. At dawn she felt weary still, her eyes heavy from broken rest, but her curiosity burned brighter. Martha found her pale and quiet. "You're not sick, are you, miss? You look like you've seen a ghost." Mary shook her head quickly. "I'm not sick," she said softly. "I just want to know the truth." Martha looked uneasy at once, her hands busy with her work, her mouth pressed into silence. The quiet between them grew heavy, like words unsaid filled the room, but Mary held her questions back. She stepped to the window later, the moor calling in the distance, its wild air steady and free. Her heart reached for that freedom, longing to run across the fields, far from the manor's secrets. But the locked doors returned to her, their silence stronger than the wind, their mystery refusing to fade. She whispered, with stubborn resolve, "I will find the garden one day, and I will learn who is crying."